Well, we've got a very special guest here, Will Jawando, a council member for the Montgomery County Council. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, of course, you've got this new book out called My 7 Black Fathers, a young activist memoir of race, family, and the mentors who made him whole. So, what does that title, My 7 Black Fathers, actually mean?
It's intentionally, I guess, provocative in the sense that I'm a human being. I only have one biological father, right? But that I'm really trying to expand the definition of fatherhood, and I do so through telling the story of my life and the men. And there's women in the book and other mentors who were transformative in my life and really saved my life. You know, my stepfather being the first, my fourth grade math teacher, Mr. Williams, President Barack Obama's on the list. Each man has a chapter, and they all gave me different things. And I think often we limit the scope and definition of fatherhood or motherhood or mentorship to defined characteristics. And I really had a whole set of these mentors that set me on a path towards success, kept me in line and straight, and also helped me deal with the loss and separation from my father early on in life, and ultimately helped me have the forgiveness to reconcile with him. So I'm really trying to expand that definition.
Yeah. And what were some of the ways that these 7 men helped you and were like a father?
Well, you know, starting off with Joseph Jacob, my stepfather, he's the first chapter. My biological father, Olayinka Jawando, we don't have a relationship early in life. I describe him in the book as an absent presence. He's in the house for the first 6 years until my parents divorced, but he doesn't engage with me. And that really created the need for these men to step in. And Joseph is the first one who really shows me a very practical and present type of love. He is very concerned about how my day was and what I thought, and takes me out to do things. And so he ends up becoming my stepfather. And he's still I've been with him for 30 years now. But my fourth grade math teacher, who I only know 9 months, but who helps me deal with bullying at school, Mr. Williams, he teaches me how to tie a tie for the first time, and is really an example. He's the first Black man I see wear a suit and tie every day. So I often think about him when I'm getting dressed for my job today. So, and then, 2 of my mom's coworkers, Mr. Jay Fletcher and Dean Sanwuya, both help me in different ways. One helps me with learning how to eat more healthy at a time when I'm suffering from high blood pressure as a child. And Dean Sanwuya takes me to my first trip to Nigeria to help learn that side of my heritage. He's a Nigerian himself, and it really helps me start off the reconciling journey with my father. And then Barack Obama, as a husband and a father, I'm working for him when I'm 25 years old in the Senate and the White House. He really helps my development as a husband and father because I get married and have 2 of my 4 children while I'm working for him. So they all gave me very different things, but they were all very needed.
Yeah. How does it feel to have a book out that's so personal?
It's a good question because, in order to write this book, I had to be very honest about what happened and, the separation from my father, and there was abuse and poverty and a lot of heavy issues. And I interviewed all of the men who are alive. My father passed away in 2017, and Mr. Williams, my math teacher, passed away in 2019. But everyone else I spoke with and had to kind of talk about the impact they had. And so those were emotional conversations. And then obviously you're always worried about what your family's going to think, what's my mom going to think, and other people. Yeah. And so, but I erred on the side of digging deep because I wanted it to be relatable to folks who, because many people have these mentors and fathers or mothers in their lives that have had a significant impact or have had estrangement from a parent or a father. And so I think there's some universal themes there I wanted to make sure to tap into. So it was difficult, but it was also, last thing I'd say, it was affirming. It was helpful because a lot has happened the last 2.5 years as I was writing this book. We've gone through a global pandemic. We've lost loved ones. We've dealt with financial hardship. We've had a racial reckoning, particularly for Black people in this country and in the world. And so it was a way to, I think, help channel some of those emotions and feelings as well.
Yeah. It's interesting that that your maths teacher died in 2019 because most people wouldn't, would they? So have you kept in touch with a lot of these people?
Well, and it's interesting. So in the case of my math teacher, Mr. Williams, I never saw him after fourth grade. I've thought about him a lot. I think about him a lot. When I tie my own tie today, I think about him. Yeah. But it was in researching for this book that I tried to find him. And that's how I found out that he had passed away. And I just missed him. I just missed him. So I didn't get to have a conversation with him. I did connect with his children and some of his grandchildren. But so I was not in touch with, but I found out more about him, later as I was researching the book. The others I am in touch with in some capacity. Obviously my stepfather I see often, and then some of these other men, the president I talk to from time to time, and Jay Fletcher, Wayne Holmes, Dean Sanwuya, not as much as I'd like, but this was a good occasion to reconnect with some of them.
Do you think that you could have Barack Obama's former job sometime in the future?
Well, there's a lot involved in that question. I think what I can do and what I'm committed to doing is public service, and I'm running for re-election now to my current post as a council member here in Montgomery County, Maryland. And I do think public service is important now more than ever. Yeah. And if I can aspire to higher office one day, that would be something. We'll have to take it as it comes.
Yeah. And when is the re-election happening? Is that some point this year?
Yes, and the general election is November. So, yep, I'm right in the middle of it now.
Yeah, that's exciting. As a council member and an attorney and a father of four and now an author, what's your secret? Because a lot of people would struggle balancing all that.
Yeah, well, I would include myself in a lot of people. I wouldn't claim to have it all figured out. But what I do try to do, which is a theme in my book as well, about expanding what mentorship and fatherhood and motherhood mean, is that I try to be very intentional with my time and also with my relationships, particularly my children. When I'm with them, I try to be with them and tune everything else out and focus on them. And I think one of the things I learned from all these relationships is that you can have a big impact on someone in a relatively short period of time if you're intentional about that relationship. And I think I try to do that in my life with my relationships, but also with my work, and focus on it when I'm in it and focus on it. And I'm not saying I have it perfect, but I think I'm doing pretty well.
And what's next for you? Do you think you would write another book in the future?
I think so. As hard as this was as a process, it does only cover my early life, and, each one of these chapters, I probably could have written a book about just each one, and as far as the relationships, but I don't really go into my professional career much, or what I've worked on or accomplished, or the lives I have with my children. So I think there's other things to do. I'm happy that I've written this, because I wanted to get this message out, and these relationships and the importance of them and how they can impact others. If we engage in them, more of these relationships, particularly for Black men and boys. But there's more to do, and hopefully more to say in the world. And so I would imagine there'd probably be another book or two in me.
Yeah. Sounds exciting. Well, where can we check out this book, My 7 Black Fathers, in the meantime?
Anywhere books are sold, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on savebookstores.com, which is where you can buy from independent bookstores. You can get it at Target. You can get it on Barnes & Noble, and it's in airports here in the U.S. So wherever you buy books, My 7 Black Fathers. I've also recorded the audiobook in my own voice. So if you're one of those folks, you can download it wherever you get your audiobooks, Audible or wherever. So it's available.
Yeah, that's a good idea, having it at airports, because maybe somebody's forgotten to bring a book for the plane or their holiday or whatever. They can easily pick it up. Yep,
that's exactly right. And so and I get a lot of pictures from people passing through airports like, hey, I saw your book, because it's a picture of my face. So, so they see it,
Yeah. Well, many thanks for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking an interest, and you have a great day.